Thanks for joining us. Oh, man, you're already trying to tear down the background again. So, stop it. Anyway, rings. Sorry for that interruption. Jeez, really? Call me back. Stop it. Go away. Jeez, really? Alright, sorry for that interruption. Yeah, just when they started attacking the background, right when I started, so. And they've been leaving it alone until I start. What a surprise. That's the just lost my freaking minds. Alright, greetings. Oh, I spelled golden wrong. Oh, who cares? I'll have to fix that later. There's a golden age of human consciousness. It's funny how I spelled that wrong. That's interesting. I think I spelled esoteric right, hopefully. Esoteric timelines and Helena Blavatsky. She's the one that connected to Lemuria. Maybe you can hear that in the background. It's a background special effects. It's funny how you got golden spelled wrong. Figures. I'll fix that later. I guess that was the energy that was necessary for that. So the golden age of I guess because we're not quite there yet. That's why. But it was kind of been, to find that definition, or because that's not a word I use very often, or ever for that matter. By the way, they're chasing each other and they're trying to climb a wall at the same time. So yeah, they're multi-talented. So yeah. I guess if I can turn this way, the other way, you can see what they're doing, sort of. But I think we're better off not knowing. Golden age. Sorry, this is not going so well. It's been a long couple of days. Golden age of human consciousness. I'll tap into that. So that goes esoteric timelines. Basically, how the elites think, their frequency that's here, and just their energy field. Basically, obviously, that's their language. I don't really go into esoteric stuff. Of course, I do have a son that was kind of esoteric. So it's basically just seeing into their realm slightly of where things are going. Of course, it's hard to see where anything is going. Just concentrate on it now. It really is what matters most. And Helena Blavatsky, however you pronounce it, she's the one that channeled, or she was very much an esoteric connections. Lemuria, she talked about a lot. I'm assuming. I feel like she taps into that realm where it became more popular during that time. And there's other places there. It's not just Lemuria. It's not just Atlantis. There's other. I feel like there's 3 other, like an Asian continent, obviously. But also Lemuria is very connected to Asia. So it's just not making it. So of course the Orions are very connected to Asia also. So everybody's connected to Asia. Let's put it that way. One thing. So I was gonna have a different title for this. I guess even if I'm spelling everything wrong, I'll fix that. But I'll go into that in a second. And They were quiet until right now. Not anymore. It's dives.com, your price sessions. Shop here. I'm on September 1st and September 2nd. Same situation here. Webinar sign up. We have webinar Saturday. Social network behind the scenes. Dating site. Where am I going with all this? Am I getting very far? The other. Without going into the title of what I was going to put up here, I'll just bypass that. But basically, like the politicians that are here, basically I have a joke in the title, but I'm not going to say anything about that. Let's see, remote control Joe, or remote control Biden, basically. We have people here that are, it's set up by design. Why our government is the way it is. Obviously, it has nothing to do with the golden age, but again, kind of does. It's like, why do we have it the way it is? Like, it's feeding off of somebody to create what we have currently. So, it's done by design, of course. Kind of like a zombie people, you could say. Sort of, like maybe they're hijacked and brought here and incarnate here to just so the government can feed off of them, and it's like back and forth feeding off of each other. But I tapped into on that. I know this sounds a little strange. I'm not sure I'm making any sense, but like, why do we have the government we have today? What is seeding it? What is giving it power? And it felt like a lot of of course, the words that come into mind, of course, because they don't want me to say it, obviously, because jeez, I can't really tap into it. I was thinking about it earlier, but those are on welfare. The welfare state, some of it is done by design. Obviously, you can say the whole thing's done by design, but certain ones that are part of welfare state are set there for a reason. They're set up to be the way they are, the whole mindset, the lifestyle, etc. Set up by design for the government to feed off, because they need the government and the government needs them. So, not to say everybody's on welfare is being manipulated by all this, but there is something there. That's part of it. There's probably more to it, but that's part of what's keeping. It's like we have like a parasitic energy in our government. It does seem like it is falling apart. I do feel it. I do feel like it's disintegrating in some form. Like it's going to lose its life eventually. Obviously, it's not going to be the same form as today forever. It is going to start breaking down. Now, when's another story? Yeah, timelines like that are very, of course, the way things are going right now, a lot of things are falling apart. So why not the government fall apart at the same time? Well, that means a new one will come through. It doesn't mean that's not going to be negative, but you never know. Anything is possible. I mean, why not, right? We need, we're seeing things right now probably a lot of people thought I'd never see before. I mean, practically they're almost doing the whole vaccine passport thing for flying. I don't think they're going to do that, but they're kind of trying to do that. You actually have to get tested if you want to go somewhere. So it is kind of, our freedoms are kind of they're kind of evaporating right in front of us in some places. So seeing like a government collapse isn't all of that. May not happen now, but it doesn't mean it won't happen eventually. Because it doesn't look like it feels ill. It feels like it's just not what it obviously not what it used to be. It's kind of like going through a midlife crisis where it's not going to be as powerful as it once was, at least the U.S. government at least. And it's the reality is hitting in slowly. They can't spend like it used to. It can't do most of the things it used to. So just have to see where that goes. But once the main thing is like, what is feeding this government? I mean, there's like a source, like it's been manufactured here in society to like for certain people designed to think a certain way, and of course, and there's a lot of them, and that the vibration goes to other people where they, oh, this is the way you're supposed to think. But in truth, that's not the way you need to think. I know it sounds a little bit out there, but not really when you think about it. But when you have aliens, they have all this stuff, and you just go on and on. Like implanted people here to manipulate reality. I don't think that's all that. I mean, I think other people have talked about it in their own way. They're just like kind of agents, sort of. They just have a certain mindset that can incarnate here. And there's a lot of them here just to keep us the way things are going. Of course, for right now. Eventually, it'll start to break down. Also, I felt some reptilian energies recently of trying to manipulate, do their thing. And that's the other thing, I'm not, I cleared that out, but it's the thing about those that have trouble with grays, reptilians, and who knows where else. They're here to, they just show us how messed up we are. We talked about that. I heard that talked about in the webinar. And it's true that they're just showing our faults, and you want to blame them all you want, but it's really that we're the ones that have issues that we have to deal with. They just exploit it. They get people to do violence. Say, hey, you want to go do that? You want to mess with those people? They trigger us. But they do it in a fourth-dimensional way. They mess with their minds. And it's up to the person to give into it or to fight it. A lot of people are giving into it. So, when people get, people when they're driving and so forth, whatever it is, they're just trying to mess with us until we figure out that they're here. But that's your mission right now. It's basically just to screw around with us. Obviously, there's another layer to it. But as we become more fourth-dimensional or fifth-dimensional, they can't hide anymore. But I actually felt them recently moving around. They have to try, even if they're not going to get anywhere with it. They always have to mess around with us. So you got to give them that. I mean, the more that you see them as a villain, Greys, reptilians, and whoever else, they want that. They want you to see them as a villain because it causes a divide. If you just become more neutral about it and just understanding of everything, which is not easy to do, it doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but not see them as the villain, as just, I guess, teachers or however you want to look at it, it makes it easier. How are you going to get to the fourth dimension if you just don't want to be around those people or whoever it might be? That's not maturity. Maturity is just being, it's like going to a family. It's like you don't want to deal with it, but you deal with it. It's like your family, reunion or whatever it might be. It's kind of like, the aliens are a family reunion. You might not care much for the way they're doing things, but then again, when you see where they're coming from, at least from their point of view, it makes a lot of sense why they're doing what they're doing. We're just showing how messed up we are. They're just showing us how screwed up we are. That's very true. And we're here to, go, heal that and move on. But obviously, the deep healing is not the easiest thing to do. Going in deep, into yourself is just, first off, you're going to believe these things that you're picking up on about yourself. And it goes on and on. So it's just not, it's nothing. It's no picnic, that's for sure. Because I believe a lot of us that are here did some stuff that probably should have not been done in our past. I know I'm one of them. But then you go through all the karma, you get backlash from everybody. It just is. It sucks. But those lifetimes of having dark lifetimes here did have something to do with moving the timeline. It had a purpose. Just because you're dark just for the sake of it, I don't think that's a lot of people here it has a purpose. If you're here to heal from that, it shows that, some souls that do darkness and their souls get erased. There's a lot of that going on. But souls that do darkness but just want to heal from it and better themselves and, turn a corner, do the right thing, that shows a lot of progress, a lot of maturity, just bravery, and so forth. It goes on and on with that. So just that's how if you just part of everything, you try everything. Well, one thing about dark lifetimes is you're willing to experience it. You're willing to free yourself from it. Of course, then you go through the karma of it, but you're also a teacher at the same time. Others you benefit from it. Maybe not always, but you feel dry. My throat feels dry. I was talking about that, so something's up. That normally doesn't happen. So I'm probably yelling at the cats and help me drink water. We'll start in a second. Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. Ever, actually. Okay, the golden age of human consciousness, esoteric timelines, and Helena, Blavatsky, or however you pronounce her name. So here we go. All right, blessings. Before I go into that, I do feel like a lot of elitist energy. It feels like this is coming out of nowhere, but not necessarily. A lot of things are not going to plan that they wanted to do here. They feel like, I guess, a bunch of failures right now. Might be the whole Afghanistan thing. They would try to blow that up a little bit, but then it didn't go anywhere. Something like that. It just feels like some of the elite are not as powerful as they thought they were. Some of them wasn't confidence in themselves. Like they're not be able to do their spells as effective as they used to. And that's many people in their awakening state not going by, even if they don't understand it. They still want to have a more positive timeline. You don't want to be manipulated by all of this. So it just feels like a lot of the spell work or astral, just a lot of the satanic energies that are going on. A lot of that's it's dissipating. It's just not the spell work it's a lot of it's just breaking down. It's not, of course, not going. It just feels like a lot of the elites, at least in the fourth dimension, feel like they failed. I don't think I'm being tricked here. No, it feels like a lot of their plans are just not going into the direction they thought it would, and they're losing. So at least the dark ones, at least. So I talked about this here and there, but in the fourth dimension, you have your aliens, you have your draconians, you have your aliens in general, but also you have a lot of your elite that are there too. It just, they don't make it easy to tap into them. So, yeah, I mean, they have their own societies there. They're just not always seen, not always the easiest thing to pick up on. So, all right. Well, we'll see about that. It feels like they're just not as powerful as they used to be. Yeah, they're not going to go vanish all together. People aren't ready to let it go just yet, but the program is just not as strong anymore. So let's see where things go. So, all right, going into the golden age energies and see where things happen. All right, blessings. Greetings to you. from the higher dimensions of your existence. We are from astral. We are just your astral consciousness. Of course, it's always up to you where your reality goes. But many of you have brought in a new energy, a new timeline, where humanity does not have to suffer anymore. So non-suffering timelines have been in place for some time now, but have not been fully implemented. Due to the lessons of the earth, due to rejection of the earth's vibration, I've just said it's not time yet. So thinking about a reality with no suffering, of course, there's always realities where you can go suffer. Of course, but many of you do need a break, especially in the financial area where many are feeling weakened by that frequency. There's still a lot of lessons that are hidden. Basically, even when a time of no pain, there's still a lot to be learned. You're basically taking your earth to its highest potential, where it needs to go. Yes, to end all of this, but not entirely just yet. As many of you actually had this power for some time. You just have been aware of it or to make it known to you. Or third dimension, yes, is slow. It is being healed, just not always seen as that. Well, basically, the idea is for humanity to become more open-minded to aware things of the spiritual developments around your earth, especially the connections with the angels, as there are many angels here that are incarnated here that are humanitarians. And some are doctors. An angel doctor doesn't mean it always has to be a Reiki healer. It can be a normal doctor, it can be a family doctor. Of course, there are a lot of Zetas here that have a lot of Palladium that are also doctors also. They're actually there to remove some implants. And of course, some are there to add them, but mostly it's just remove it. It's mostly a removal process. The alien version of them I implanted, but the human versions are to remove it. That's why some have back problems. Some people have throat problems. They need surgery in certain places. A lot of times it's just due to an implant. And the doctor is there to remove it. So it gives you another idea of why the world is the way it is. Of course, there's much more to it, as basically you see more of what is hidden, but then now seen. And for you to see it, yes, is through your heart. What does your heart say? Is it allowing you to see more? Are you there willing to unlock it? Seeing the world through your heart, because people want to see it through their third eye. And that's fine, but sometimes that can be connected to the ego, sometimes. But seeing the world through your heart is a whole different experience. Is this because that's what your world of ideas for heart space, for the earth to heal itself on so many levels. Where the third dimension, yes, unlocks it, you're going to still have the knowledge here, but many just don't have to go through the lessons anymore. You're closing out those lessons. You've learned it already. Once again, you won't be closing out if you do not learn it. But many of you are here to make things a little bit easier for people. It's just there's less violence here. And yes, domestic violence, especially on children, young adults, it's the last hit by the lower dimensions. They hit as hard as they can before they can no longer do it. Of course, the ending of all that is not clear just yet, because it all depends on humanity, how much it wants to know about itself. And some of you are going to be in positions where you can make this more known. More fourth dimensional knowledge, multi-dimensional knowledge for humanity to unlock itself from third dimensional mindset. The healing the mindset of the third dimension is so rooted into so many. And some of that is Lemuria and Atlantean, but not always the most positive. Yes, there's an inner battle going on. Yes, you do not need rockets or weapons. The mind can be a weapon, as some of you know. Energy vampiring, a weapon. These things are right in front of you. You just don't always see it. Many of you do see it, but yes, putting yourself back together on an angelic level is really key to all of this. It's basically you're building yourself up to your higher self frequencies so you can see through third dimension and see the higher realms on all multiple levels. But you can actually handle it. Some are already doing it to a certain degree. It's something that happens like a growth spur. It just happens. Well, you pass a test and you move on to the next level of yourselves. We are the golden age consciousness, you can say, from astral blessings. Greetings. There is, or the esoteric consciousness here. We're very connected to skulls. The skull, or the bones of the body, is very occultic, isn't it? Because there's spells done to it, especially of the dead. The living, there's spells, those are the most powerful spells, to make the mind imprison, to take it over on so many different levels, especially as a child. That's why there's child abductions, at least alien-wise, of course human-wise, is lower the frequencies so you can't see what's happening here. So human trafficking has to do it just so it just, yes, makes people miserable, and that misery energy sends out to the world. It's like you're dealing with an energy storm and you can't think straight. Violence does this. It's done in a particular way. Just like your news media says certain words, certain times, certain frequencies. It's all about frequency. Basically, for you to heal violence on your world, there will be a time when you can connect to that frequency. Basically, some of you, like in the state that you're living in, like if you're living in New York City, you push out your vibration. It's like, wait a minute, am I part of people, finding themselves? Meaning that less crime rates come in, is what we're getting at. Your frequency just makes people less violent. You don't have to know these people. It's just you're putting out energy. It's already happening now. It just gets attacked every now and then for obvious reasons. But basically, you realize your potential on higher levels. We can live in a state or a country and realize you are healing the violence there. You go to Afghanistan, only certain ones can go there, of course, because you gotta know what you're getting yourself into. Because it's like you go to a place, we'll use Afghanistan, you go there, and it's like you're a key, and you're just there to shift the frequencies just enough where violence doesn't maybe not fully heal itself. Well, the potential of it. That Afghanistan has been basically hijacked, as you can see, like most countries. That's not the easiest one to calm down because so many are used to violence there. Some of them move there just for that. You move to a place like, look at all this violence and people are loving it. That's their entertainment. New York City runs the same way, but many are looking for more of a peaceful energy. It's just not the easiest thing to bring in. That's why many of you are connected more to your magic, your wizard lifetimes, to be able to realize you can heal a great deal. From a wizard's point of view, or a magician, even your modern magicians, healing violence makes sense, can be done without interfering with someone's free will. You just basically put a frequency out there where they don't feel like they need to be violent anymore. It's still up to the person. But to a magician, a modern magician, this all makes sense. And that's where your society is still figuring out. What is it? Is it just a matrix human where it just follows the guidelines of reality? But some of you are opening up more spiritually because there's many more layers you can see. It's just not the easiest. Yes, to manifest relationships and finances is one of the major things for some people, not everyone. But the next direction is basically, how can I heal myself? How can I really unlock this chamber? Not the easiest one, yes, because you're not always meant to do it. It's like sometimes you have to unlock yourself at a certain time, certain point, certain timeline. Because when you start knowing about yourself, others get affected by it. So you have this, awakening at another level of basically finding out, yes, you have history here on this planet that's deeper than you might have thought. The realization that can be heavy because it can affect relationships with those around you. Greetings. I am Helena. Yes, Blavatsky. Pronounce my name however you want. I was here to heal people, but then I got obsessed with them. Saw them differently. Saw more into their minds. Saw more than they could ever understand. You can see at one time I became afraid of people because of what I was seeing within them. Yes, the violence, but also, yes, there's a positive, yes, definitely a poetic side to so many. Well, there was also a lack of love I made your discovery. And that is what your future is about, love. Why civilizations died in the past? Because they forgot to love each other. It became more about ego than the heart. And you're here to realize that. The heart has been shut down among many people for obvious reasons. Well, because they went about their lives physically, well, relationship-wise, it's attraction, but then attraction, they're not always seeing the full scale of a relationship, of how deep you can go. Not many are thinking that deeply usually. Well, yes, they can get married and get lost in their own energies, but then they get stale and forget, which is very common, which is, yes, for many that have a contract for that. But now you're going into a time of basically the love connection, the heart connection is now synchronizing to the right person and where your earth can heal itself finally. So one relationship or several, yes, the right relationship can heal the earth on so many different levels, basically because there's a bond there, there's a trust there that cannot be fully explained, where basically the earth goes into a renewal process. The third dimension gets to see itself more clearly. During my time, yes, connecting to crystals was my connection to the afterlife. It's like I can feel the souls within a crystal. They can feel their consciousness, but I can also see they're living in a crystal. And usually they're living a pretty peaceful life. And you already come more realization of that here. Crystallizing your earth, letting out the demons, which are usually politicians reincarnated. But so much went into creating them. I mean, it's almost like a masterpiece. It might cause many of you difficulties. There's also a masterpiece of carnage that you're here to heal. Yes, and allowing these vices, this darkness to let itself become more known. It's doing it now through the government to a certain degree. Of yes, we don't care about your rights. We don't care about ourselves. And that's there to awaken those from the slumber. So the darkness is almost like the devil himself is there to knock on your door and say, I'm here. As that for humans inside, we don't need that anymore. So expect more truths to come out within politicians, but in reality, we're not going to go into details of who, what, and how it will be, but hard truths, and this is opening up the Earth's frequency level. Well, it's no longer paddling in the lower realms anymore. Yes, where you can see giants, where you can see the aliens more clearly. Aliens, of course, are right next to you, right near you, but they're not allowed to speak. They have to let you see them. Open yourself up to their realm. It's like, now you're ready, because we see each other more clearly.